You have people in your business, they show up, they're busy. Oh, they're so busy. Man, these people are busy. These teams always doing stuff.
Yep.
But I have a simple question. How do you know when people are actually working?
Ooh. But they are working because they're busy.
They're always busy. That's what they
Correct. Because they're doing stuff. So they're working.
Yes. Busy people. So most business owners, they don't have a people problem. I don't think. I think they have, there's people there. But they don't know what is being done, what is producing results, and what is just movement. So, my question, if I ask business owners, is your team working? They'd say yes. But what are they actually measuring?
Well, I suppose the first question that I would ask you is, what does working mean? That would be the first thing that I would ask.
That's a good question.
Because everybody's working, they're doing stuff. The question is, are they doing the right work?
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, for me, it's important to, are they clear on what they're supposed to be doing?
Mm.
Because this is where a lot of people, right in the beginning, they'll start a job, for example, and they'll have an expectation of what they should be doing. So you give somebody the job of, oh, you're going to be a PA.
Yes.
Okay. Now they have an idea of what they think a PA should do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they'll come in and they'll say, right, so as a PA, I'm going to reorganize the stock cupboards. I'm going to do this. I'm going to reorganize the kitchen. And I'm going to do, I don't know, send books somewhere or whatever. They have this idea of that's what they need to be doing. And then if you actually look at their roles and responsibilities, they're not in the kitchen, they're not in the stationery cupboard, and they're not sending because somebody else is doing that.
Yes.
But that person thinks that that's what they should be doing. So they go and they are busy and they will reorganize your stationery cupboard and they'll do all these things. But they have this idea of what they think they should be doing, but they're not actually sticking to what their roles say, if they even have roles. Because a lot of times people will get employed as a sales rep. Cool, I'm a sales rep. Well, what does that mean? What are their roles? What are their responsibilities? What are they getting measured on? Are they an order taker, like a counter sales rep? Or do they just stand and take orders? But if they've been employed as a sales rep and they're going, yeah, but I want to go out on the road and I want to phone clients and I want to do this, and like, no, you're an order taker. You stand at the front and you deal with customers as they come in. And this person's flipping on the phone calling people and they're doing a whole bunch of stuff that they shouldn't necessarily be doing. It's going to cause a lot of upsets and chaos. But in their mind, they're working because they're doing what they assume they should be doing.
Yeah. Do you think that then, I mean, how much does then, for example, we could say business owner, sales manager, or even just managers having a lack of understanding of what is actually in a person's contract? Like, what are your actual roles and responsibilities, which then creates a lack of clarity from the person, the employee. They're not clear on what they need to be doing because I'm not clear.
Yeah, it's twofold because sometimes managers don't know what's in the contract and sometimes employees don't read the contract. So,
yeah.
But it's, if you want to hold somebody accountable, you need to know what you're holding them accountable to. So, and this is where a lot of times people will come in and let's say the sales rep goes, I answer all the emails, and they're now leaving and the new sales rep comes in and most businesses expect the old employee to teach the new employee what they did.
Okay, got you.
So the guy that's leaving is going to now teach the guy that's replacing him what to do.
The handover thingy.
They're going to have a handover.
Yeah.
Yeah. and the handover, and you're gonna, like, if I come in, you're gonna say, right, you need to check emails, you need to do this, you need to do that, and I'm going, that's not in my contract.
Mm.
And then it's like, oh, I better do what they tell me.
Okay. So the old, I
So
better do what the old sales rep tells
yes,
me. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I'd start answering emails and doing all these things, but yet I've never been trained on how to do it. But the old sales rep
Hmm.
is teaching me how to do it. How do you know that the old sales rep isn't flipping giving the wrong advice?
Yeah.
Those kind of
Yeah.
things. We don't. Maybe the old sales rep wants to, I don't know, destroy your company or cause some chaos,
Yeah.
or maybe they're upset, or we don't know
Mm.
where they are. And so it's important to be aware of what is in the contract, and then what is the right, is the right person teaching the new person what to do. And often it's not.
That's actually a great point there, because I think then I almost feel like what's happening is, like, if I'm a business owner listening to this, like, I would say I feel like there's an abdication of the teaching part. So I'm not gonna. So the old sales rep must teach the new sales rep. Or let's just not say it's a sales rep that's leaving. It's somebody who's a
Oh, brand
senior sales rep,
sales senior one, yeah.
sales rep, and a new sales rep comes in. I'm gonna teach you my ways.
Correct.
I'm not teaching you the business way, like the process of our business is X.
Well, if you don't have a process, a lot of businesses don't have processes. So if you don't have a process, what are you teaching them?
My process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, well, you do your process, and then you go away for 2 weeks, and then I start working with Johnny, and Johnny has a different process, and I go, oh, I quite like Johnny's process.
Yeah, this is easier.
It's a little bit easier. Like,
Less work, yeah.
yep. So it's like Johnny's process. And you know what? Johnny's making a ton more money. How do I know? Because he told me he's making a ton more money. And so what happens is I start following Johnny's process.
Mhm.
And then you come back from leave, and suddenly you're all upset because I'm not following your process. But you're supposed to do it like this. And it's like, well, who said? Stuff you.
Yeah.
Because the process isn't written down.
Mm. And now the business owner or the manager's looking from afar, or they seeing this and they're like, I have no clue what's actually going. So I'm just gonna leave everybody to it, right? I'm gonna leave them to do what they're doing.
Clearly, this new sales rep is causing a little bit
Yeah.
of chaos, and it must be the new sales rep's fault. And every time we employ a new sales rep, it's
Yes.
I'm just not going to employ sales reps because they don't do what they're supposed to. Well, that would be true. They don't, because they don't know what they're supposed to do. Because you haven't, as a business owner, you have not written down everything that they need to do. And this is our sales process. We phone customers. You get your list from somewhere. The IT sends you the list of leads. Then this is how it's broken down. This is how long a phone call should take. This is what you need to say on the phone call. This is your script. I mean, call centers have that script down to a freaking T, and the people that say don't ask questions, and people are not being taught those kind of things. But outside of, but I also, I do question, are call centers even working? Because now it's all automated and you get flipping robots talking to you.
That's a good. I doubt it, because I mean, what purpose does if you're not asking questions, if you're not actually engaging with me on a call as a call center agent, yeah, I think the AI voice probably would serve a better purpose. It's probably cheaper as well.
Correct.
We're not saying that you must fire your those people. We just
But it's
brainstorming.
just understanding that, if you're not teaching people how to, one, follow a process, once they follow the process, to be able to ask questions within the process. Because a lot of times this is the script, do not deviate from the script, and this is the way it is.
Yeah.
That's not a process. That's
script.
That's a script, and that's just the way you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, so it is. I mean, I had somebody the other day, shame the poor guy. I said to him, I would like to know where you got my number from. And he said, I'm really sorry. Your numbers get given to us. I don't know where they come from. So I just went, so what I'm hearing from you is that you are not following the Poppy Act. And like I literally could hear oh no. And he goes, I guess not. No, I'm so sorry. And I was killing myself laughing because the poor guy obviously had never been asked that before.
No.
Didn't know what to say and had not been anyways, but it was very entertaining for me to observe. As soon as you put a little bit of pressure on call centers and things like that, they actually don't know how to respond. And most of them, I'm not going to, well, most of them, yeah, I'll just say they don't know how to respond.
And I mean, just like that type of example, right? I mean, as a business owner, because you're not sitting around listening to your sales reps, you're not listening to their calls, you're not seeing how they respond out on calls. In terms of like a process, how like that is a key thing, right? If somebody asks, because that's not like you said, it's not this a script is essentially it's a part of a process.
Correct.
If you do not have it in your process of if somebody asks you this question, go this direction. Because that's not a good response. Like this is my opinion. And actually, we're not following it. Oh, so your company's operating illegally.
Well, they're breaking the Poppy Act.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if that thing is
But
legal.
we don't. But we don't even know.
What?
Like he didn't even know where he got the names from. So when it's not even like he doesn't even know. Like
No.
So it was just entertainment for me. But it's just understanding that are you helping people in your business know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and it is just fascinating to observe is that most people actually don't know what they're supposed to be doing. But if you ask them, do you know what you should be doing? They're not going to say no.
No, why would
because
I'm gonna get
they're
fired.
they believe they're going to get fired. They believe that they're, going to get let go, or, they believe that they should know what they're doing. So they're just going to say yes.
Yeah, because I mean, you got employed to do this job.
Correct.
So you must know what you're doing. Right. And I think we end up in a position where like a lot of business owners, or let me not say a lot, but most business owners, so I'm going to say a lot actually, a lot of business owners probably on a daily basis think that their teams are lazy. Or because not necessarily, I mean, there's the whole stats of what is it, 12% of sales reps bring in 80% of business, which is a study done a few years ago. So that means in a business, maybe the business owner, he's sitting there thinking, that means 88% of these people are lazy. They're busy, but they're not productive. I mean, and there's a difference between those two things, right? Being busy and being productive.
Absolutely. There's a huge difference between being busy and being productive. And so, and this is where, Barry so often teaches, what gets measured improves. And are you measuring people on results, or are you measuring people on key performance metrics? And most people have KPIs, but they're not actually measuring people on performance.
Okay.
They measure people on results.
So how do you measure on performance?
So are you driving things like, if you've got a sales rep, how many calls are they making? And are you tracking the calls, and then how many conversions and how many quotes are they sending out? And, this kind of thing. And I mean, we've seen it recently in our business where one of our sales reps suddenly just was sending out quotes, and suddenly they've sent out 20 quotes, and you're like, something's not right here.
Yeah.
Like it's unusual to get 20 quotes. Like this is, and what we discovered is that the rep thought that they were being measured on quotes. Why? Because previously in another business, they were being measured on quotes. So that's why they think if I just send out enough quotes, somebody will buy. But often, like if you say to somebody, can I send you a quote? They just say yes to get rid of you.
Yeah, because the quote is zero obligation.
There's nothing connected to it.
Yeah.
So it's just, essentially, it's just an objection, or it's a way to get rid of you. So, just send me a quote.
Yeah.
And so it's understanding that what are you getting measured on, and what is the activity that's going to drive the results? Because most people are measuring like your sales in terms of sales reps. Like sales reps will naturally do that. Why? Because they get paid commission. So they're going to go, I need to make X amount of sales to get paid commission, instead of how many calls am I making? How many follow-ups am I doing? How many connects do I have?
Yeah.
Those kind of things. They're not, and most business owners don't take the time to measure those things.
Because I mean, like, if you're measuring something like that, how many calls am I making? How many how many connects am I making, and how many conversions come from that? You can duplicate that, right? So if I make 100 calls, I have 70 connects, and I get 10 conversions. I can duplicate. I can go, okay, cool. This works, because 100 is your number. You need to make 100 calls. But if your number, so let's just say your conversion is 5 out of the 70, then it's like, okay, you probably need to increase the amount of calls you make.
But even something as simple as, if I know that most sales reps in my business will do, let's say, 100 calls in a day. Okay, that's just a number I've thrown out there. It's not a
It's not a factual thing.
It's not a factual
Yes.
thing. Okay, but if I know, and then I bring in a new sales rep and they're only making 50 calls, I know that there's a problem. Okay, so now what is the problem? Is it because they're lazy? Is it because they don't know how to use the phone? Is it but now, because I can measure 50 versus 100, I can actually start to investigate, what is it that's happening? And suddenly I may find that the new sales rep wasn't shown us, like our CRM system doesn't know how to use it and is writing all the calls down manually. And then they write slowly. So that's why. And they're too scared to ask somebody to show them how to use the CRM system. So now I can fix the problem.
Got you.
Instead of, well, that sales rep's lazy. I can just go, okay, cool. Let's show you how to use the CRM, or let's help you. You don't have to write all these things perfectly. Like, let's see how we can fine tune it to help the employee get results.
Goes back to the teaching thing.
Correct.
Versus, I mean, most business owners would tell them, like, no, you're going to use the CRM system. And then this person's like, oh my gosh, because they also
terrified of computers, or
so they're not going to put their hand up, then say, I don't know how to use it because I'm afraid of. And is that like an environment thing? So, for example, me not putting my hand up to say, look, I don't know how to use a computer.
Look, it's from an environment somewhere.
Okay.
So it may have been school, it may have been home, it may have been another working environment. So yes, some environment somewhere created it. It may not be the current environment.
Yeah.
So, but somewhere somebody made them wrong for not knowing something. So now they don't want to tell anybody that they don't know something. So they're busy trying to deliver on 50 calls, but they're trying to learn it, but they don't know what they should be learning. So they're terrified and they don't learn.
So this is something I'm sure many business owners who are listening to this have probably said along the lines. I don't pay people to be busy. I pay people to produce. And I'm pretty sure I've heard that in our rooms before. I've heard a few times. Out of the years of events we've done, I'm sure I've heard people say, especially owners and managers, I pay people to produce. But do they actually know what they're paying people to produce?
Most of the time, not. And let me take that back. Most of the time, they know what result they want. Okay, so I need you to do R1 million in sales.
Cool.
Okay. But now, what does that R1 million look like? How do you break it down? Where does it come from? How many calls do you need to make to get a conversion? How many phone calls do you need to make to get an appointment? How many appointments do you need to have, and what are the steps in between? And most people don't actually know what the steps in between are. And that's why it's very difficult to measure actually what your sales rep's doing. We just tell them, sorry, you haven't done your R1 million in sales, you're fired.
And they like, flipping hell, I've never made R1 million anyway. Because like R1 million in sales is a lot. And they've never done that before. And now you put this, and this person's not going to put their hand up. I think that's something we become very clear on, right? It's like most people are not going to say, I don't know,
No,
because,
because if you were at school and you said, "I don't know," the teacher would generally send you to the headmaster's office.
and now the headmaster is the business owner. So the manager, you say, I don't know to the manager, and the manager's like, I'm going straight to the boss. And I'm saying, so Johnny doesn't know how to do X. What are we going
I've
to do?
showed him a
I've showed.
million times. He won't listen to me.
He's not listening. I've lost my head. I don't know what to do. Can we give him a warning? Or, and I mean, that's just not going to improve their performance, right? Them getting a warning.
And look, there are times where that is the right thing to do, and there are times where it's not.
Yeah.
And we're not judging if it's right or wrong or what have you. What we are saying to you is, do you know what the process is?
Mm.
Because look, there's always going to be rotten apples.
Yes.
And so some people you just need to let go of. But it's important for you to understand you cannot let them go unless you know what the process is. You cannot hold them accountable unless you can say, have you done X?
Mm.
Have you done Y?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's super, super important to be able to measure people on the correct actions rather than on the results.
And how often, so I'm a business owner, how often am I measuring, not the results, what did you say? The behaviors.
The behaviors,
How
yeah, the
often,
actions.
the actions, how often am I measuring the actions? Is it a daily thing? Is it a weekly thing? Is it a monthly thing? Like,
Well, I think it would depend on people's businesses and
yeah.
what they're selling and things like that. So, in terms of our business, we measure it weekly, but they have to report back on their numbers for the week on, like on Monday, I did this, Tuesday, I did this. And it depends how detailed you want to go. But if, your rep's telling you they've done 100 calls in a week and you're going, "Mm, I've seen you do 50 in a day. What the heck's going on?"
Mm.
You may find that, part of the week they spent doing follow-up calls, part of the week they spent doing, running an event or delivering products or things like that. So, oh, okay, when you look over the week, you can kind of go, okay, cool. I can see this week you delivered lots of products. You were, oh, we had a stock take. Okay, so now I can see this week why you didn't do your 250 calls, why you only did 100 calls. So if you're measuring it weekly, certainly for in our business, it gives us stability and we can correct quickly. If things if the reps just made 100 calls and they've been sitting doing nothing, well, what generally there is a problem of some sort.
Yeah.
And oh well, I didn't have airtime. I was too afraid to let you know that. Oh, what the heck? Okay, let's change the system of how we get airtime.
Yeah.
Or maybe they, whatever it is. There's so many different variables as to how this can play out. But it's just when you are aware of that, you can change something fast if you're measuring weekly. Some people have to be measuring daily because of the magnitude of their business or whatever it's involved. And some people, I think sort of every 2 weeks you can get away with it. But it's better to measure smaller numbers than bigger numbers. Why? Because you can break it down a lot easier.
So for you as a business owner, what's your take on meetings?
What is my take on meetings? Well, again, what is being measured in your meetings? Because as a business owner, I have done years of meetings where meetings were a complete waste of time because we didn't measure anything. We discussed a whole lot of things. We had a whole lot of fun. We yelled at people and we didn't resolve anything.
And 3 hours of our day was taken.
And 3 hours of our day was taken and we absolutely wasted that 3 hours because nothing was actually discussed. It was, oh, this is amazing.
Mhm.
This is wonderful. And yes, you're doing an amazing job. And it was just, it didn't work.
Yeah.
We implemented the system from Traction.
Yep.
And again, it took us 2 years to get it right. But now our meetings are structured. They are 90 minutes. They are this, they are that. There are to-dos that come out. Things are measured and decisions are made in the meetings.
Yeah.
And so our meetings are productive, and we actually have had less meetings, less time in our meetings, because we get to the point, this is an issue, right? Dum.
How do we solve it?
How do we solve it? How do we fix it? And then we move on and we get to the real issue, because often what you think is the problem is not the problem.
Nope.
And that is something that we've got really good at, is what is the issue. And the issue is, so, I mean, something like, if I go back I say years ago, but a while ago, Sully and Michaela had the job of packing boxes.
Great job.
Amazing job. They never did it.
No.
Right. And I was always, guys, and screaming and yelling at them and telling them what idiots they were and how could they forget this, and there's a list, why don't you follow the list? And then something as simple as, when we come back from our functions, stuff is just getting put back in the cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
So the next week they can't remember where they put it, or the next event. And so what I had to do is go, there's a step missing in the process, that when stuff comes back, it needs to go in a specific place.
Yeah.
So we need to put on the cupboard that this cupboard is for X, and on this shelf is for X. Now they could find the stuff when they were looking for it, and it was easy for them to pack off the list, and it made the list go tuk, 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 and suddenly it flowed and they stopped forgetting things.
Yep.
Why? Because there was a step that I had missed, and it's not the obvious, or at that point it wasn't the obvious. So the issue wasn't that Sully and Michaela couldn't follow the list. The issue was they couldn't find stuff in the cupboard. That's why they didn't follow the list.
Mm.
So it is, what you think is the issue generally is not.
And just to go back to meetings, because I actually realized this yesterday for me, and because we were talking about, like, so what do you, well, essentially the premise of this thing is, are you clear on what your people are doing? Right? And I mean, that example is such a great thing, because as the business owner, you're now clear that, okay, I'm clear that these guys are packing. That's happening. But I'm very clear that they are leaving things behind. Or when they're now unpacking, they're leaving things behind. So they're leaving milk and they're putting it straight back into the cupboard. And then the next event, guess what? We've got a bunch of off milk. And what are we doing about this? But to go back to meetings, right? I realized yesterday, I went, if I have less to-dos, so if I actually structure my to-dos around like meeting with people within the team, it gives me a list of what I need to do for the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also the other thing that we started doing with our meetings is, we had the list, but we recorded the list, and everybody gets a copy of the list.
Yes.
So that everybody can see what you need to do. And then people can come and ask you during the week, do you need help with that?
Man.
Or I see on your to-do that you have to, send so-and-so an email. Have you done it?
Yes.
Or do you need some help doing it? And it created a huge amount of accountability in terms of the minutes were recorded, and literally within 10, 15 minutes of
meeting being done,
you got your list of to-dos. And then there was consequences. If 80% of your to-dos are not done, then
$100 fine.
There's a fine. Well, guess what? Suddenly there's a consequence.
And people stop not doing their to-dos.
And suddenly people were doing their to-dos. And it is when there's a consequence, because I feel it if I have to pay.
Yeah.
And so this is something that we implemented, and it made a huge difference to our business. Was it easy to implement? No, but it made our meetings incredibly effective, because people want to get out of the meeting. They want to do their to-do so they don't have to pay money.
$100. Yeah. And I think that also, like, such a key part with that is like with the to-dos. And like what you said is, I now know what you need to do for the week, so I can either support you or I can follow up with you to be like, hey, it's Thursday. Did you get this to-do done? Because I think everybody's become clear that whatever it is that each person, each department has to do helps in driving the business forward.
Yep.
Right. So if you need to book a venue for us for whatever event, we can now check with you. Have you booked the event? Because yes, we also understand that you're busy with your processing and helping clients and fixing people's broken brains. You get, you get busy. So now if we can come to you, hey Nicole, did you book the venue? Yes, I did. That works because we need a venue to do whatever we do, right? And if you don't book the venue, guess what? We don't have a venue. And that
And
does not
that's the
drive the
problem.
business forward. 100%.
So, and it's just understanding that the to-dos, like you said, are interlinked. And so it does make it a lot easier if everybody's working together.
Yeah. And I think that I feel like we've just gotten to a stage, and I think that I would like to see most businesses operate not off the traction system, but obviously off the greatness operating system, because we have a great system that Barry is currently working with different teams, and I think we've seen the differences that it's making in those businesses because they keep calling him back. It's not because he's a nice guy, like it's
Well, that's you,
but because it's driving high levels of accountability in their teams, but more so it's driving high levels of accountability in our team. Everybody is very clear on the things that they need to do, but more importantly, I actually feel it's the consequences. And I feel like most businesses are afraid to put in consequences, but to get the buy-in for the, because that's something that,
but that's the challenge, is people don't want to be held accountable. Why? Because then I have to stop being busy and I have to actually deliver on what I'm supposed to deliver on. So it's very difficult to put in consequences and things like that because people are struggling. People are people don't like being held accountable because then now I can't do what I want when I want.
yeah,
I have to do what you tell me.
I
And
want to
that's
do what I want to do. Yeah.
because I like being able to come to work and chat to my mates and go and have a smoke break and, go and order whatever, Uber Eats and what have you, and charge it to the company. And, I'm living a great life here. Why would I need to?
I'm just here for a salary. You're making me work. What are you
Yes.
doing? What is wrong with you?
And we say that facetiously, but unintentionally, a lot of people have that attitude. And it's not an intentional attitude. It's just in a previous job, that's how they got away with doing stuff. And it became a winning. And I say a winning, it was winning for the employee. It was not winning for the business.
Yes.
The employee was winning. Why? Because they didn't have to do anything and everything's great and rosy. So why would I want to be accountable and work?
Yeah. And I mean, we see that, funny enough, I feel like we saw it this weekend. It was like we had different businesses and then we had like obviously individuals. And I think I don't know, maybe it's because I'm paying attention to it more in our events. I'm seeing more people from teams just check out. So I'm done with this event. You guys send me to this event. I don't want to be here, so I'm just gonna leave. But you don't actually realize how many people are paying attention to you doing that. And now it's even crazier because we have your boss's number and it's like, hey, so and so left. Have you heard from them? Oh no.
So-and-so's got food poisoning suddenly, but they were fine in the room.
Yeah. When did this food poisoning come from?
And the other 6 people that came from the same business
didn't get
ate
food
the
poisoning.
same thing and didn't get food poisoning.
Nobody else got food poisoning. That's crazy.
But, and we say this a little bit tongue in cheek, but that is the harsh reality of what's actually happening out there is people are not doing what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
They get away with playing the game of playing hooky or, skipping out and well, that works for them.
Yeah.
Because nobody's holding them accountable and they're allowed to do what they want. So I'm going to do it.
I mean, it's tough, man. Like I can't imagine actually how tough it must be to be a business owner in this country, for example, with the labor laws and all that type of stuff. Like, because all of those things sit on your head, right? The payroll, the office, whatever, the rental, if you're renting or if you own it, the bond that you need to be paying, dealing with suppliers, all of that. And it almost feels as if you have a team that doesn't necessarily care.
So it may feel like that, but it doesn't mean they don't care.
Yeah.
It's just they don't know they have no comprehension of the understanding of what's actually going on.
So you got to bring them to that.
Not,
Would you
not
say?
necessarily. You need to be able to, like Barry's very stuck on the moment, in the moment on processes work. It's people that don't. And the one that he loves to use is HR and salaries. And
My favorite.
on the 25th of the month, if HR doesn't deliver and do what they say they're going to do, or your accountant or your bookkeeper or whatever it is, if they do not pay salaries, there will be a flippin'
anarchy.
And in the organization. So they are held accountable by everybody in the business because everybody in the business will throw their absolute toys out the cot if they don't get paid.
Yeah.
And this is where, I think too many businesses are too lenient on people, and they go, okay, cool. So if you only deliver 50%, I'm only going to deliver you 50% of your salary. It is almost impossible to do that in this country. And I think a lot of other countries too.
Yeah.
But what are the consequences of them not delivering what they promise? You've got to put consequences in place, and you have to make them feel the pain of, if you don't deliver, this is a problem.
Yeah.
And so there are different ways to do that. And in each industry, you're going to have to find out how you can do that. But like for us, we just started implementing, this is what you need to do in the business. Can you do it? And if you don't, are you prepared to pay 100 Rand? And suddenly everyone started doing it, because why 100 Rand, I feel I can, and I don't want to be embarrassed and be the only one paying out my $100 this week.
Damn. Yeah, I think I was one of the first people to pay. No, I was actually the first person to pay a fine. I was so bummed. Like, I was so upset that I got petty about it, and I put coins in the thing as well. Because I was like, I can't believe that this is happening to me right now.
But guess what? How many times have you paid since?
0.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that pain hurt me enough to actually go, I'm not doing this again. And the worst part is you have to do it in front of everybody.
Well, we have to have proof that you actually paid your fine. So
yeah.
And it's just understanding that there are ways to make people feel it without making them understand the magnitude of running a business.
Actually, I like that. That makes a lot of sense, because you can, if you constantly coming out of pocket because you didn't do your to-dos, it's exactly the same as your boss having to come out of pocket for you not actually doing your job. It's not the same magnitude.
It's not the same magnitude, but you will feel the pain.
Yeah.
And look, there are some employees that, and we've seen it, that will pay their $100 every week, and that's when you go, okay, cool, you're not actually delivering on what you promised. And then you can then now go to, right, this is what you said, right? And then now you can bring in warnings and things like that and what have you. So it does make it a lot easier for you to identify the problem children.
Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think it's a huge subject, this. And it's when people are busy, it's very hard to get them into the mindset of, it's not about being busy. It's not about working 8 to 5. It's about, can you do the things that you said you were going to do? And, in our organization, we kind of work more on, have you done what you said you're going to do? Okay, cool. Then you want to leave early? No problem. We're not stuck and you have to be here from 8 to 5. And it does make it challenging, because you need to deliver on what you promised. And then it's okay if you leave at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
But if you haven't delivered on what you promised, then you better not leave at 4 o'clock. You better stay until 5.
Agreed.
And so this is where culture comes in, is what is the culture in your organization? And so it's you need to start driving that culture of, we deliver on what we say we're going to do, not we're going to be busy.
Yeah, because busy does not pay the bills. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Uncovering Greatness podcast. Thank you for listening wherever you are in the world. Shout out to our top 3 countries: USA, Netherlands, Iraq. See you guys next week.
Bye.